So, story time. Back when I was still in the military, me and my friend just got out of a 16-hour shift and decided that we wanted to go to the range and shoot some guns. The only range that's open are outdoor ranges, and this outdoor range didn't happen to have any type of rules as far as like when you can shoot and whatnot. I recently got a Surefire flashlight attached to my AR, and I wanted to try it out at night. So we get off around 10 or so, and it's about an hour drive to the range that we planned to go to, and so we didn't get there until about 11:30. But anyways, we start, you know, shooting some targets, having some fun. I got music playing in my car. So we stopped for a moment because we need to refill our magazines, not clips. I don't know why people call them clips. They're not clips. We started refilling our magazines, and this is about 30 to 45 minutes in. We see headlights in the distance coming up on the range. We didn't think much of it, but at the same time, it's kind of unusual because it's unusual for us to be there that late, let alone somebody else. First car that we saw was just 2 headlights. Then all of a sudden, 2 cars behind that car split out, and there were 6 headlights. And as soon as they split out, we saw nothing but blue lights light us up. We're at the tailgate of his truck loading magazines, and we see the blue light. So we come out, and I got my hands in the air, and at this time he has his hands in the air as we're coming out. We don't have any firearms on us. We took all the firearms off and put them on the truck. At this point, he decides to put his hands down for whatever reason. As soon as we get out in the open, so where they can see us, he puts his hands down and starts swinging them by his side. And the officers are pointing ARs at us, all right, you know, police ARs, they're pointing them at us, and he decides to drop his fucking hands. Like, on what is going through your mind that makes you think that it's okay to put our hands down when they're telling us to put our hands up? We're both MPs in the military, and he decides to put his hands down for whatever fucking reason. So they're screaming at him, put your hands up, put your hands in the air. We can't see your hands, we need to see your hands. So I fucking shoved him. I'm like, yo, put your fucking hands in the air. And so he finally does. They tell us to turn around, which we do, so our backs are facing them. And they come up, and, you know, at the same time, they're, you know, patting us down, make sure that we don't have any more guns on us and whatnot. So they tell us to get up. They ask for IDs. We give them our ID. 2 of them are talking to us like, what the fuck are you guys doing out here this late? While another guy is checking out our guns, checking our serial numbers, make sure they come back, you know, not stolen or anything like that, and they come back to our names. So we're telling them, like, hey, we just got off of work, we wanted to come shoot, I wanted to try out my new Surefire flashlight on my AR, and yada 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 yada. And it's like, all right, do you guys know that there's a time limit for when you can come out here and shoot? And we were like, no, we didn't see a sign or anything like that. We just had a friend tell us that, hey, there's an open range down there. He comes down here all the time. And coming up here, this is like our 3rd time going there. We've never seen a sign to this place that says when you can and cannot shoot. So he starts telling us there is a sign. I think, you know, somebody tore it down, or, you know, for whatever reason it's not up right now. And we were like, oh, okay, well, our fault, we didn't know. Got a call that somebody heard some gunshots in the distance, and so we came down and check it out. So apparently the officer told us that this place is notorious for, you know, drugs selling and distributed and whatnot, and there's been a lot of firefights that happen out here. And so in the distance there's like this little porta potty, a little bathroom shack, and here's like, if you look over there, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we look over there and shine a light on it, and the bathroom is riddled with bullets. Didn't even realize it, but from every square inch of this bathroom there was a bullet hole. We were like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, that's why we came in so hot. We didn't know what to expect when coming in here, and most of the time when we do come in here this late and hear gunshots, it's because there's a drug deal that's going on, and, you know, it ends up being a firefight. They check us out. We turn out to be all good, of course. You know, we're both legal. And so they start talking about our guns, you know, or, you know, this is a pretty cool gun, that's a nice setup on your AR. And so we start showing them our gun. I've done this, and that. And they're like, oh, how does it feel? And it's like, it feels nice. I was like, you want to shoot it? He was like, we got called here because you guys were shooting. I was like, hey, they don't have to know that you've made it here already. And they're like, nah, we can't do that. And I was like, all right. So we started packing our stuff up and putting them into the in our cars. And in my trunk, I had my plate carrier. And of course, you know, officers are decked out in a full plate carrier, got their pouches and all that shit. So I fucking held up mine. I was just like, I think mine looks cooler than yours. And so he goes in the back and gets another plate carrier that he happens to have in his car for whatever reason. And he pulls that one out. That one was thick as a bitch. I don't know how many Kevlar plates he had in that thing, but that shit was thick. Plated up, pouches. I mean, it was fucking decked out. And I was like, all right, well, damn then. I was like, shit. You got me a little bit. He was like, yeah, but I don't have that, or that. And he was pointing out my grenade pouch, something else. I couldn't remember what it was. Of course, they don't have grenades or, you know, shit like that. So, anyway, so I was like curious. I was like, hey, you guys checked our guns. You mind if I check out what you guys carry? Like, what's your issued AR platform? And so he pulls out his AR and I'm holding it. I'm like, damn, this bitch is light as shit. Like, compared to a handgun, this AR is that fucking light. And he's like, yeah. And I think they had like a little ACOG on the top, a Merc foregrip light with a pressure button or whatever to flick it on and flick it off. The thing was decked out. It was nice as shit, and it was light as hell. And we started talking for a little bit longer, you know, bullshitting. And then after we were done talking, they were like, all right, man, you guys are free to go, you know, whenever you want. And so we pack up and just leave. And that was a scary moment in my life. One, we weren't supposed to be there. Two, we were shooting big guns that apparently you couldn't shoot there. Three, my friend almost got a shot because he decided to put his arms down when they first pulled up and they're pointing ARs at us. All said and done, I mean, after everything was checked out, you know, we sat there for like another 30 minutes, had a conversation, then packed up and left, and, you know, no harm, no foul. But that just goes to show the type of mentality that cops have to arrive for. You know, it's not that they are being, you know, racist or stereotypical or anything like that. Just for the scene and gunshots and the history behind the place that we were at, they didn't know what to expect, so they prepared for the worst, praying for the best. And I think that we came out with the best case scenario right then and there. But I salute those officers. They were really cool. They were really chill, professional, and that goes for a story time on how I almost got shot by the police.